Good afternoon. Wow, if the sun was out, we'd be even happier, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
You guys are far away, so if I say something, nod really big so I'll know you're listening, okay? But thanks a lot, Dr. Scott, for having me. We go back quite a few years ago. Um, I'm just a young man from Covington, Kentucky, who had a dream. And the dream was way back in the late 60s when Herb Albert and Al Hirt and Harry James and Doc Severinsen and Maynard Ferguson were at the height of their careers. And I was wondering, even in high school, like probably a lot of you have or were, how in the world am I going to make a living in music? I don't know if you had those questions or had those concerns. But there was one thing that I know is that a relentless passion will never work a day in your life because it'll be something that is so deep developed inside of you that you don't quit. Okay. So you just keep after. Now this journey on trumpet or whatever instrument you're playing, it takes a while to get good at, doesn't it? I mean, it takes every day. I picked up a trumpet when I was 7 years old. Back in the old days, they had elementary music programs that were instrumental. We started in about the third grade. My first private lesson was between the third grade and fourth grade from a piano player who taught me how to read music. It was very interesting. But I fell in love with playing the trumpet. What really got me interested in trumpet was Al Hirt playing the Green Hornet theme song. Have you ever heard of that before? If you haven't, look it up on YouTube. Al Hirt theme from the Green Hornet. And I asked my dad, I said, "What was that, Dad?" He said, "That's a trumpet." I go, "Oh, I like that." And so the next week he purchased a little con director with a 6C con director mouthpiece, and away I went. So it was kind of funny. Fast forward a few years, I got in college, went to a small college where I had a lot of challenges, like most undergrad students. And so I decided that, well, if I'm going to try to make a living at this thing, I better get pretty good at it. So I started practicing. In 1973, the department chair, who was at Morehead State University, called Mr. William Adam at Indiana University for me. Now, going from Morehead, Kentucky to Bloomington, Indiana, there was maybe 50 trumpet majors at that time at Morehead versus about 350 trumpet majors at Indiana University. Oops, sorry. So I decided, man, I thought I was practicing well until I went to Indiana University and I met up with a bunch of other guys, and they had a 6 a.m. club. So we started, you had to be in the practice room at 6 a.m. and by 6 p.m. or 8 p.m., you're done. And we used to practice 8 to 10 hours a day. Now, when we say 8 to 10 hours a day, that doesn't mean the horn's on your face for 8 to 10 hours. That means that you allot 8 to 10 hours of your day to excel in trumpet playing. And out of that 8 to 10 hours, you probably have the horn on your face maybe 4.5 to 5 hours a day. That make any sense at all? So if you're not practicing 3 or 4 hours a day as an undergrad student, you may want to give a second thought about what you want to do with your life, because it's going to require a concentrated effort for a few years to get pretty daggone good at what you do. Do you remember the first day that you picked up a trumpet, whatever that was for you? Do you remember bringing a trumpet home and opening up the case? Do you? How'd that make you feel? Scared, apprehensive, excited? I can't see your faces. See, all I see is your bodies with your faces are about that big on the screen. But I don't know about you, but I was extremely excited to pick up a trumpet. Wow, this is great. And I still have that feeling today. So you do the math. I'm 7 years old and I'm 73 now, and I still practiced 3 hours this morning, and I still have 3 lessons to teach this afternoon. So when I get finished today, the horn's on my face about 6 hours a day. Last week, we just finished a Broadway musical called The Great Gatsby in Louisville. And you know how those things are. We had a 4-hour rehearsal Monday, 4-hour rehearsal Tuesday, 2 shows on Tuesday, all the way throughout the week. The lead book went from low F sharp to high E flat. The second book went to low A sharp to high E. And so you pound it out. Now, the nice thing is they gave me a check for $2,500 for doing that. That's pretty good. How many of you would like to have a check for $2,500 for playing trumpet? Sure you do, but there's a price to pay to get on someone's list to call you. So the focus of today's discussion is just talk a little bit about how in the world do you go through this journey called trumpet and not drive yourself crazy in the process, because it is a process. I remember in 1975, Mr. Adam wrote a clinic address, and I'm sure Dr. Scott has that screen pulled up. The first slide, Dr. Scott, if you're monitoring that PowerPoint.
I've got it right here, yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna read it, and you guys read along with me, okay? In Mr. Adams' 1975 clinic address, he said, in everyone's life, many obstacles present themselves. These have to be overcome by positive thinking or by a positive approach to the problem at hand. We need to make sure that our own self-image is true and honest. What he said, I would like to recommend a book to you written by Maxwell Maltz called Psycho-Cybernetics. It contains down-on-the-farm philosophy that help a person create their self-image and give them a tremendous insight in their own life. Sometimes we are acting and thinking positively, but not always towards our own fundamental goals. We must work on our true self-image. Mr. Adam believes that playing the trumpet is one of the means that grow mentally and of continuing to grow, seeking the truth and meeting all challenges that we have to meet. Not every day is going to be a good day on trumpet, is it? There are some days where it just isn't going to work the way you want it to. Anybody ever having days like that? And then there are other days where you can't miss a note. Trumpet playing's easy, it's effortless, you smile more, you play more. Oh, I remember teaching at Moorhead when a student walked. I averaged about 20 to 25 trumpet majors, and I taught them all. I did that for 22 years. That is a lot of lessons. I remember when students would walk past my door, they would come and say, hi, Mr. Wing, how you doing? And their heads were down, and they were him-hauling around. And I could tell, what's wrong? Well, trumpet isn't working today. And I said, well, join the club. And so we talked about it and persevering and how to practice right and how to take breaks and stuff like that. And then there will be other days when a student would come in, hi, Mr. Wing, how you doing today? And I could tell, oh, you're having a good day today, aren't you? Oh, yeah. So it's funny how closely connected we are to this thing called music. So you can't let the ups get you up too high. You can't let the downs get you down too low. So you have to have a good median sense of mental stability so you don't let this thing get at you. It's hard enough to play trumpet or, whatever instrument you're playing. It's hard enough for crying out loud. Have you ever had someone say something that wasn't too nice about you and you found out about it? How'd that make you feel? Not too good. Then you go in your practice room and try to practice. How's your practice session going? Not too well, is it? Because that's all you're doing is thinking about what that person said about you, and you either want to talk to them or rip their head off, one of the two. So we're closely connected, this thing. So we got to figure out how to make the best of it on any given day. Mr. Adam wrote this clinic address to help us. By the way, Maxwell Maltz was a plastic surgeon, and he wrote the book called Psycho-Cybernetics as a case study of all the patients that he had where they spend thousands of dollars to change their physical appearance outward. He thought it was interesting that until they changed the inside, their self-image, they still felt the same way after the cosmetic modifications on the outside, on the inside. So it was an interesting book. Next slide, please. Getting more life out of the trumpet. What more does this mean? Mr. Adams stated obstacles must be overcome by positive thinking and with a positive approach at hand. He emphasized that it is wise to educate yourself with recommending several books. So I'd like to go over these too. I'm sure Dr. Scott has them and has already talked to you about some of these. If not, you want to make a note of some of these. The one we already mentioned was Psycho-Cybernetics. Others include Zen and the Art of Archery, The Inner Game of Tennis, As a Man Thinketh, and The Physics of Brasses. Some of these are very difficult reading, and you may have to form a little group to go over the books together so that you get a better understanding of what the author meant to do. One of the books I think is very interesting is called The Inner Game of Tennis. The author, Timmy Galway, used tennis as a means to talk about the psychological aspects of playing and how we have a lot of self-interference. Any of you ever played a piece of music and you look at the one part and you think, oh my God, here it comes, I know I'm going to miss it, and then you miss it? Or am I the only one that that's ever happened to? So that is you getting yourself in the way with this external interference called stinking thinking. So in any one given day, we got to make sure that our mind is clear and our mind is focused on the goal. In playing trumpet, we're goal-oriented. In other words, the goal in playing trumpet or any musical instrument is the most beautiful sound that you can imagine. Now, how in the world can you imagine what a beautiful sound is? Well, you listen to great players play. Whether that would be Doc Severinsen or Ting Ting Helseth or Allison Balson or Phil Smith or Robert Sullivan or Alan Vizzuti, I mean, just pick one, right? iTunes and all of the resources that we have available for us today gives us a tremendous insight to understanding, pick a trumpet sound that you like and live with it. Get it inside your head so that when you take a big breath and you play, you imagine you have that sound. And eventually, you just might have a lot of characteristics of that sound. Mine was Doc Severinsen, so every time I play, it's big and ballsy. Let's go. All righty. Mr. Adam went on to say, he said that he believes that 90% of trumpet playing is mental. That's the next slide. 90% mental. The last 10% is the physical, will be divided into 9% breath and 1% embouchure. What I find interesting is, why do we spend 90% of our time thinking about the 1%? We think about how it feels. We think about what the fingers are doing. All of a sudden, things lock up on you because you're thinking about all the wrong things instead of the goal, which should be the most beautiful sound that we can imagine. So we have to choose. I would tell my students all the time, it is impossible to think about the beautiful sound and how it feels at the same time. So you have to choose. What's it going to be? You're going to think about the sound, or you're thinking about how to get the sound. Over and over again, I've proven this to be true. Every time I think about how to play trumpet, trumpet playing sucks. And every time that I'm engulfed in playing music, I'm not even thinking about the embouchure or the fingers, and all of a sudden trumpet playing really turns around, and I'm playing pretty well because I'm not thinking of the mechanics. It's interesting about these mechanics. We don't think about what muscles are involved when we cough, do you? Do you think about the muscles that it takes to sneeze? No, those are all involuntary activities. Well, the diaphragm and all that stuff are involuntary muscle activity as well. So you take a big breath, keep your mind in the sound, accelerate the breath as you blow through the trumpet so the trumpet can do what it's supposed to do to the physical, and then you leave the rest alone. I'm sure Dr. Scott has you guys set up on some type of routine.
Yep.
Good. Now, the reason why we do that is that, number one, there are 5 fundamentals that we have to overcome the challenges on any given day. Number one, we're always working on our sound. Number two, we're always working on technical facility, which is fingers. We're always working on flexibility. We're always working on articulations, whether it's to, do. And 5, you're always working on your endurance and developing a pretty nice upper register so that you can master playing the trumpet. How many of you are working on fundamentals every single day? Did we freeze? I don't see hands. I don't see any hands going up. Can you hear me? Say what?
I said, raise them high. You go
Okay.
off.
Well, then we've got some work to do. Okay. Are you all music majors? Yes or no?
Room, yes.
Okay, pretty well. Okay, good. So how in the world do we keep this process simple as the slide goes on? We know that the mind is the creator of concepts and attitudes that produce the physical activity necessary for proper trumpet playing. If we keep our minds on a beautiful sound, on accelerating the air through the sound, not forcing the sound and forget the embouchure, many problems will disappear. a lot of teachers will have signatures at the end of their email. One that Dr. Carl Sievers has, used at retired professor of trumpet at Oklahoma University, OU, says that keep your mind on a goal and many obstacles will disappear. So I'd like to encourage you that when you play your instruments, keep your mind on the goal. What's the goal? The most beautiful sound that you can imagine. And then watch what happens. You know, in Indiana, next slide. You know, at Indiana University, I'm sure just like at Washburn, you have a trumpet class just like this, where you talk about pedagogy, you talk about psychological objections to overcome all these problems that we have when we play a brass instrument. But at IU, it was electrifying. That first trumpet class of the year, Mr. Adam would talk about the physics a little bit. He would go into the philosophical ideas about the Lord's Prayer. And then we talk about how in the world to keep our mind free so that we give trumpet a chance to do what it's going to do. The excitement in the room was electrifying as Mr. Adam discussed the trumpet and many of the philosophies that we're going over today. One of my former students was kind enough to take the old cassettes and digital copies. Now, we don't have the time to do that today, but Dr. Scott, on that slide, if you click on Mr. Adams' picture, you'll be able to see a little start where where audio is embedded into that slide.
Hopefully so, yes, I see that. I think I've showed this to at least Austin before.
Okay, you may want to pull it up. It's Mr. Adams' first clinic address.
I don't know.
The first trumpet class of the year.
I'll play it.
Okay. You're gonna play it now? Okay. Is it playing? I can't hear it on this end, but that's okay. And you don't have to play it all. It's on SoundCloud. I just wanted to introduce everybody to it.
We've got it over here.
Okay.
You want me to play?
Yeah, just stop it.
Okay, gotcha. And I'll send, by the way, I'll send this PowerPoint out to everybody afterwards. I can send
Oh,
it
yeah.
out.
Yeah, it's all recorded. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yep.
So with getting more life out of trumpet, we have to rely on solid principles to get us in a positive frame of mind, whatever that is for you. It could be having breakfast with a friend, talking about your goals and aspirations with each other. Another thing that we did while in grad school at Indiana University is that we would have different parties, non-alcoholic parties, a few alcoholic parties, but you get the idea. We would have a Maynard night, we'd have a Doc night, we'd have a Phil Smith night, we'd have an Adolf Hirsch evening, where we would put on as many LPs and cassettes as we could, listening to those particular individuals play. And boy, number one, the camaraderie that you build with each other, knowing that two people are going down the road for a common cause, has a profound effect on your development. So if you're not doing anything like that, I'd like to encourage you to do it. This might change you. Building relationships with others is the secret to your success. I can personally attest to that. If it wasn't for my friend at IU, Nick Thorpe, getting on Buddy Rich's band, he would have never recommended me to play lead with Buddy Rich from 1981 to 1982. If it wasn't for Tony Scodwell at the Frontier Hotel in Las Vegas, where I was living at the time, if we hadn't done a lot of work together, he would have never recommended me to be the lead trumpet player at Caesar's Palace. And it goes on and on and on. So you just never know who's going to get the job. You want to make sure that that other person thinks of you first, or you think of one of your favorite friends that you want to be on the road with or have an opportunity to play together with. It's pretty powerful. I don't know about you, but one of the ways that I keep a positive outlook on everything is I educate myself. I love listening to motivational videos. I don't know about you, but I love these guys. So on the next slide, some of the motivational speakers: Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Dale Carnegie. They're all out there. Next slide. According to a career addict, the 10 best motivational speakers a few years ago were these 10. And you can click on that black screen and a video will appear, Dr. Scott.
What?
You guys tired? Is it playing? Gotcha. That's fine. You can stop at any time.
Oh, it's on it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we've done it. Even if you can't hear it, we're seeing and hearing it, so.
Okay, good. The idea is that you gotta know what resources to turn to. So if you don't know what type of motivational speaker can personally reach to you, you want to do a little research. Do some Google searches on motivational speakers and play a few of the videos and see if it helps you personally. You know the old golden rule. If it resonates with you and it helps you, then you want to use it. And if it doesn't, then you throw it away and you don't use it. Okay. Not only did Mr. Adam encourage us to read, but he would play recordings of Maurice Andre, Doc Severinsen, and Adolf Hirsch in the performance class. Why? Why do you think he did that? Well, he wanted to make sure that we listened to what he felt was some pretty good trumpet playing. And the more we listened, the more we learned, the more it inspired us and encouraged us to want to work harder. Can you name 5 or 10 trumpet players that resonate with you that you listen to every week and it inspires you? Well, let me ask you another question. I just forgot it too. Have you ever listened to a piece of music where you had goosebumps and it affected you emotionally and you went, oh my God, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard? Then you know you're doing something right that resonates with you. It all comes down to making sure that you are mentally free when you pick up a trumpet. Leave the garbage at the door. When you're in a practice room, you're there to practice. So be careful how much time you waste in a practice room. You know, as I mentioned earlier, since the development of the internet, we have so many wonderful resources available to us to help us about with just anything you can do. My oldest son's 37. He uses YouTube to learn everything mechanically about his truck. And when he visited us this past summer, he worked on the truck every day, and I was out there watching him. I said, "God, where'd you learn all this?" He said, "YouTube, Dad." I went, "Oh, okay. Next slide, please. Why in the world when we listen to Chris Bodie play Deborah's theme, why do we listen to that over and over again? First of all, do you know who Chris Bodie is? Yes or no? Second of all, have you heard Deborah's theme? If not, I'll let Dr. Scott play that for you just a little bit.
Yep, sure. All right, playing it now.
That's good. Isn't that beautiful? Have you heard that before?
No.
Well, there's Chris. There's no shit. There's Chris Bodie's telephone number. And I'll get up, Arturo Sandoval's here in a minute. I can call these people now and talk to them. I can talk to Doc Severson. I can call Wayne Bergeron. Now, how in the world did I get in that circle where they want to talk to me? That's another story. That's another presentation. Here's Arturo Sandoval's cell number. So anyway, when I was growing up, I knew that trumpet is something that I wanted to do more than anything. I tried football and I broke my leg and I said, I'm not doing that anymore. That hurt too bad. So I started practicing trumpet. When I realized I was getting pretty good at it, I developed something what is called my cycle of success. And I hope it resonates with you. And it goes like this. The more I practiced, the better I got. The better I got, the phone began to ring and other opportunities came my way for church gigs and other gigs and shows and whatever, which made me feel good about me. That guess what I wanted to do? I wanted to go practice. So my cycle of success has been unending for 73 years. I still enjoy practicing today. It's therapeutic. It makes me feel good about me. How in the world am I going to be an effective teacher if I'm in a rotten mood? Oh, no, no, no. It doesn't work that way. As a teacher, my job is to believe in my students even when they don't, to educate, to inspire, to motivate, to teach them how to practice. There's 3 questions that I ask my students all the time. And right now, since I'm retired, I've got a wide spectrum of students. Tomorrow, I teach 2 students from Western France, for crying out loud. It's interesting. But the 3 questions I ask my students is, number 1, why do you practice? You know what their answers are? To get better. I say yes. And what happens to you personally when you begin to feel yourself get better? Well, I begin to feel better about myself. And I said, yes, you will. Right? Number 2, students do not know how to practice. So my job as a teacher is to teach them how to practice and what to practice and areas that they need work on. You can't practice what you're good at all the time. You have to practice on all the other things you know you suck at. And I'm the head of the class when it comes down to that. But we listen to great players play to inspire us and motivate us. The next slide talks about Maynard. Maynard Ferguson played a tune called Maria in a nice Latin feel. And I remember listening to Maynard's Maria over and over until I had tears coming down my face. It affected me emotionally that much, wondering if I was ever going to be good enough to make a living at this thing. And so I would listen to it. A couple of my friends saw me listen to it every night in a hotel in Evansville, Indiana, where I live, decades ago, when we played at a hotel called the Executive Inn in Evansville. But if you haven't listened to Maynard Ferguson play Maria, you need to. And right away, that video, the audio clip is also on that slide, Dr. Scott. But we'll go on, okay? You know I'm talking about Mr. Adam a lot because he besides my father was a pretty good influence on me. We believed him. He never lied to us. He told us the truth. He inspired us and motivated us, not by what he said, but what he did. He lived the way he wanted us to act. I never witnessed him have a bad day, not one time. Now, maybe he did when he went home, but Mr. Adam was my trumpet teacher. He wasn't my friend, if you know what I mean. He fired it up all day, late in the evening. Why? That was his job. When he greeted you with a firm handshake, when he looked into your eyes with that sparkle and twinkle in his eyes and told you the same joke all day for a week, his methods with keeping things positive was modeled day in and day out. By the way, do you know why Mr. Adam would tell us a joke at the beginning of the lessons? Keep the tension down. Have you ever walked into a lesson and felt pretty anxious? Either because you were excited to play for Dr. Scott, or you know you haven't practiced and you had to play it for Dr. Scott. So which one is it? Which one is it? It's interesting how this thing flows. I go on to talk about, I always enjoy sharing motivational types of things with my students. Came across a website called Daring to Live Fully. And he talks about 21 ways to create and maintain a positive attitude. Ironically, several of these 21 ways can be directly related to Mr. Adams' philosophies. So we're going to go through a few of these, okay? You can turn the slide, we're on number 1. These will go quickly. I realize you only have about 15 minutes to go and I want to leave room for questions. So let's hit on 5 of them, okay? Number 1, have a morning routine. You know, if we were on reality TV and we had a camera in our house or your rooms or whatever, and we watched it back, we would do the same thing each morning the same way. That's called a routine. So if you haven't set up a practice routine where you get yourself going in the morning, I highly encourage that. How in the world do you start your morning? It sets the tone for the rest of the day. Make sure your routine is one that puts you in a good mood so that you can start your day off right. If you want to start your day off right, I highly encourage reading the book, Make Your Bed. Everybody remember that, Make Your Bed. Look it up. It's written by an ex-Navy SEAL who talks about his trials and tribulations of going through SEAL training. And one of the things he did in the morning was making his bed, so that when he came home in the evening, he knew he had done something right that day, and that was to make his bed. It's a fascinating book. He gave an inaugural address for one of the schools, not an inaugural address, but he gave a commencement address at one of the colleges. So look it up. I think you'll enjoy it. Make your bed. Number 2, carry an attitude of happiness with you. I don't know about you, but you have a choice every morning when you get out of bed. Are you going to bitch and complain that it's everybody else's fault why you're not being successful? Or are you going to hold yourself accountable or have somebody that's going to help hold you accountable called a practice partner? Now, if you're in a practice room by yourself, in my opinion, you're missing the ball. So I would encourage you to find a practice partner tomorrow morning and do your warm-up routine, whatever that is for you. You're going to find out that you take your time, and when somebody's listening to everything you do, you're going to concentrate better because you don't want to sound bad in front of your peers. So see if it works for you. It'll help you carry an attitude of happiness. Number 3, smile. Sometimes I'm not in a good mood all the time, but I find out that if I just smile at someone coming towards me, they're either going to think I'm crazy and then run away as fast as they can, or they're actually going to smile back. What a concept. So smile. It releases tensions. It also releases endorphins. And so it just might help you through the day, not give up. Speaking of that, what's it going to take for you to quit? How long are you going to go at it before you say, I can't do it? I hope your answer is, I'm never going to quit. You persevere, and you persevere. Even when things are not going well for you, you persevere. Did Dr. Scott tell you about my little diagnosis of focal hand dystonia, where the middle finger on my right hand doesn't work well any longer when I play trumpet? Did he tell you that story?
May have told Austin, but I don't think I told anybody else.
That's okay. I've had therapy. I've had surgery. This middle finger, you know what I'm talking about. Our favorite little middle finger doesn't work too well any longer when I play trumpet. I can do this, but if I put it on the trumpet, it's weird. So 2 years ago, I decided to switch playing trumpet, and I play trumpet left-handed now. The album that I did, Reflections on a Grateful Journey, that I gave Dr. Scott. If you haven't listened to it, it's kind of fun to play, but I did it all left-handed. Now, the challenge is with changing to the left hand, it changes the lateral placement of the mouthpiece, how it feels, and the vertical placement of how it feels. So I literally had to start over. So if you think you have it tough, you haven't seen crap yet. So you better get in the practice room and practice. Taking responsibility, number 4. At any moment, your attitude can be that of a victim or a creator. You have to learn to take responsibility of your future. That's what I decided to do. I didn't need to work anymore. I didn't need to play trumpet anymore. I was retired. All this happened about retirement. But trumpet playing is so darn therapeutic, I can't imagine not ever playing trumpet in some fashion. And the phone still rings, so that's a good thing. Mr. Adam told us you can take a day off, but you can't put it back. That's the next slide. He used to tell us, you know what the biggest sin in the world is? Feeling sorry for yourselves. So sometimes we've got to share what's going on in our thinking with other people, such as your practice partner or your accountability partner, or someone that you like and enjoy being with. Share what you've got on your mind. You might find out that they also have the same fears and excitements that they want to achieve in their life. Getting more out of life out of trumpet. Trumpet is just a vehicle to change you as a person. When I was teaching college, I always enjoyed getting to know the student, usually about their freshman year in college, freshman in high school. I would start giving most of the students that come to Moorhead, I had a personal relationship with. I knew their parents, I knew them because they started taking lessons from me while they're in high school. So by the time they reached college, Moorhead was the logical choice because they wanted to continue studying with me because of the relationships. I took a personal interest in the students while they were in high school. It's always interesting. Be proactive. Number 5. A reactive person allows others and external events to determine how they will feel. A proactive person decides how they will feel regardless of what may be going on around them. Be proactive by choosing your attitude and maintaining it throughout the day, regardless of what the day may bring. You got to remember, trumpet is a lifelong journey. Never sell yourself short. There are enough people out there that will do it for you for free. You know what I mean? Everybody out there wants to see you fail. So you always have you always have this built-in armor around yourself. Okay? The armor is zip, zip. I am now in my protective shell. Nothing that you say or do is going to affect who I am. In other words, you have to be a little thick-skinned in this crazy business because people are envious of your success and will talk about you behind your back. That's just natural human tendencies that we can't go there. Mr. Adam used to say, take the high road, young lady. Take the high road, young fella. There's 2 ways. There's a high road and a low road. You can imagine what the low road is. Well, be careful. Be careful going down the low road because it stinks down there. So that's enough of that. Have a purpose. Have a purpose. Having a purpose in your life gives you a fixed point on the horizon to focus on so that you can remain steady amid the challenges that you're going to go through. Bringing meaning and purpose to your life, know why you are here will do wonders for your attitude. Which leads me to another question I always ask my students. Why are you here? Why are you at Washburn University? Why are you majoring in music? What in the world do you want to do with a piece of paper called a degree? You think about some of these things. I'm sure Dr. Scott would love to talk to you about some of this. I hope some of these things help you a little bit. It's just a wide spectrum of thoughts and ideas that Mr. Adam was so adamant about and sharing with us that his words have become my words. All I know is this. You only have one day to practice your techniques and improve your performance. Mr. Adam used to tell me I can't teach you how to play trumpet, but what I can do is help you become the person you want to become so that trumpet will just kind of go. I remember walking into a lesson and not being prepared. And he looked at me, sat his horn down, sat in that old wooden chair. He says, Greg, if you don't like what comes out the end of your bell, may I suggest you get in a practice room and stay there till you do. So that was one of my earlier motivational talks that Bill Adam gave me. Remember, I wasn't an undergrad student. I was a grad student. I was working on my master's at IU. I had a lot of success as an undergrad because I was a big fish in a medium small college. So when I went to IU, because of my work ethic, I was also one of the top dogs at a much bigger school because I learned in undergrad how to work. I learned how to play too, trust me, but I learned how to work. I learned how to set priorities. I learned how to make friends. And friendship goes deep. I just celebrated my 73rd birthday, and at a Mexican restaurant about 3 miles down the road, I had a surprise birthday party from one of my dearest friends at IU, Bob Slack, who flew in from California, and another one of my friends, Nick Thorpe, he flew in from Idaho, and another one of my friends, Carl Sievers from Oklahoma. They all flew in to surprise me for my 73rd birthday. It floored me. They played Happy Birthday in the Mexican restaurant. I said, you guys are nuts. But it was just, it's funny how you rely on people and you love the friendship. You will not betray them for anything in the world. Be careful how you act. There's a direct reflection of what comes out the end of your bell and what goes on in your head. So be careful what you program. It's hard enough to play trumpet. You don't need to help it with a bunch of negativity or stinking thinking. So change your self-image, educate yourself, listen to great players play, be inspired, practice hard, and watch what happens. Somebody asked me if I had a definition for success. I like to go to a lot of positive motivational type of seminars, and I remember the speaker telling me one time this definition of success. Success is a continuous journey toward the achievement of predetermined, worthwhile goals. It's a continuous journey. As long as I live, I'm working towards a goal. Predetermined by me. Not listening to what anybody else says. A lot of people don't believe that you'll never make a living in the music business and they try to discourage you. Well, that's one thought. When I moved out to Las Vegas in 1981 with no job, my parents thought I was crazy. And I said, Dad, I'm going to Las Vegas. And if it doesn't work out, I can drive my big ass right back. That's a true story. So sometimes you have to believe in yourself so strongly when others doubt you to prove them all wrong. Now, you don't do it to prove them wrong, but you get the idea. There's a little bit of, I'll show you, by golly. And you start working harder than you ever have in your life, something will happen to you. You will change. Yes, you can make a wonderful living in music business. What do you want out of it? You're going to be a teacher? Be the best there is. Motivate students. That's what a teacher's job is. Not to freaking babysit them. Hold them accountable. Give them assignments. Motivate them. Inspire them. Be the best it is. But why not you? Why is it always somebody else? Why not you? Why don't you hold yourself accountable? It's very, very important. Believe in yourself when others doubt you. That's why it's important that you do have to keep yourself in this zip in your body armor so you don't let people get to you. Rely on others to help you. Mr. Adam used to say, you're going to need all the friends in this business you can get. And he didn't say that because you want to use them, but other people, your friends will look out for you and you look out for them. That's called loyalty. Loyalty begets loyalty. It's very important that you have other people helping you in this business. Any of this stuff resonate with you? Any of this stuff make any sense at all? I hope so, because the music business is a wonderful business. First of all, to make a living playing your instrument or teaching others how to enjoy the world of music is a blessing. So don't take it for granted. Whatever it is you do it the very best you can. And I promise you with all my heart, you will never work a day in your life. Thank you very much. Questions? Questions? I see those hands clapping, but I can't hear them. That's why. It's a presentation that I put together. And it's all there. You've got a recording of this stuff. I printed it out to keep myself on track. And Dr. Scott, I'm sure you can print this out on black and white if anybody wants it. That's what I did. I just printed it all out on grayscale. Any questions particularly about anything you got going on? We've got
we got a few minutes here. Anybody have any questions? There's got to be at least one, because Austin's here.
Yeah, my hearing shot. Just
Arthur, you have one?
Tell Dr.
I
Scott.
I would like to know what it feels like to play in those upper registers and how you got there to where you could play in those upper registers.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, my highest note was an A. You will not see a double C written in any piece of music unless you just want to take it up the octave yourself. If you're going to be a good lead trumpet player, you must have a high G. Very few things are written for A's. Wayne Bergeron is challenging everybody, and he's got chops for days. Mr. Adam talked about the eye teeth muscles. Let me just share a little tip with you. The eye teeth muscles is this group of muscles right here. Can you all do this for me? That's activating the eye teeth muscles. I want you to experiment around with this. But if you take your hand and put it in front of your face, come on, everybody, do it. Put your hand in front of your face. This doesn't work with saxophone. And blow straight. Now, activate those eye teeth muscles and tell me what happens to the breath. Does it go up?
Yeah.
Yes. That's where the extreme altissimo register comes from. This is a wind instrument, not a muscle instrument. Now, it takes muscle to play trumpet, but the upper register is a fine balance between the velocity of the air being free and not being restricted because you're holding the armature like this. If you tighten up your lips too much and the air doesn't go through the lips, guess what you have? No sound, no endurance, no range. This takes time. Of all the people that I knew who could play in the double C's, they were gifted with it at an early age. They just kind of figured it out. Oh, okay. That was Wayne Bergeron. Okay. That was Arturo Sandoval. The guys who work like crazy to get every half step that they can, you're looking at them. In high school, I had a D. When I graduated undergrad, I had an F. When I graduated from graduate school, I had a very solid A. To this day, the double C comes and goes. But you don't need a double C. You need a high G and all the way down in between. Upper register, again, is a relationship between the speed of the air being unrestricted so that the air can support everything that the upper register has. It takes muscle. There's more resistance in the upper register than there is in the lower register. Would you agree with that? So it's a balance. And it's one that you work on every day with Schlossberg 95. Da, 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 da. Then you go up to the E and the G and the C, and then the E and then the G. Well, that took me about 3.5 years. So if it doesn't come around as fast as you want it to, don't sweat it, just keep at it. The secret to success is persevering, not giving up. Are you going to go through tough times? Sure, everybody does. But you know what I found out? Tough times don't last, but tough people do. By the way, that's the name of a book that I read one time. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Look up some of these books. And when you get down, whether you're a reader or an audio listener, change the way you think. Change the way you act. And my God, please go out and have an impact on your students if you're a teacher. Does that make any sense? Next question. Thank you very much for that one.
Yeah, we got one. Austin, you got one?
What would it take to get a signed album from you?
Yeah, Austin is you were #1 on his Spotify Wrapped last year. So he got a screenshot of me.
I'll tell you what. Are you talking about this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my retirement legacy gift to myself. I wanted something when I retired so that my granddaughter's children's children might pick it up one day. Who's that? Well, that's your great-great-great-grandpa, Greg Wing. And he played the trumpet. And so I spent the money to put it out there. Most of the charts were written because of Morehead State University had an annual fundraiser called a gala. And I was a featured soloist, and I picked out the music and the themes, and I said, well, since I have all this stuff already written for me, I may as well record it. Now, here's the funny thing. The microphone that I'm using is a $1,000 Royer mic. I went to Cincinnati, recorded all the horns, but I wasn't able to concentrate or get what I wanted in the studio in Cincinnati. So you want to know where I recorded my album? Right in his office. I bought a DAW called Studio One. I have some very fancy Yamaha studio monitors. I got my audio interface right there. And this Royer microphone is $1,000. And I sat in my office, learned how to use the DAW. The best thing that any studio musician can do when you're recording your own thing is use something called punch and roll. When you overdub a solo, you punch in. If you're not happy with something, you go back and you record just that section. Well, on the DAW, which is Digital Audio Workplace, which is the actual recording platform, you can set it in the music where you want it to start recording and then stop it automatically when you want to stop recording. And so I did that thousands of times. No one plays everything right the first time. They stop and do certain sections until you get what you want. And then I had Nick Thorpe, one of my lifelong buddies, who's a producer and a writer. He took all of my cuts, put it in with the instruments background, made it sound like it was in the same room with a little reverb, and that's what you got. But all you have to do, Dr. Scott, is make a list of who wants a CD, and I have a few left, and I'll put them in a box and send them to you. How's that?
Well, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I gotta convince Austin to come to Adam Fest though, so you get one.
Well, how far is, well, where are you guys at? Topeka, Kansas?
We're in Topeka, yeah, it's in Carbondale this year, I think, right?
Yeah, so yeah, Carbondale's not too far away. Is it 4 or 5 hours maybe?
Maybe 5 or 6, yeah.
Well, my opinion is if you're serious about trumpet and you want to meet some of us who are the old dogs in the regime, if you will, and you want to pick our brains and have free trumpet lessons while you're there, then you may want to attend Adam Fest. You'll go away thinking differently because the positivity, the camaraderie that is there is infectious. But if you want a CD, just have Dr. Scott send me your name and address and I'll get a bunch out to you, okay? And you know what I'm going to charge you? Nada. It's not about the money. If I shared with you what I'm earning in retirement, you'd all laugh and wouldn't believe it anyway. I've been extremely fortunate, extremely. Any other questions before I go take a nap? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I want everybody to come take a little virtual picture with you up here, so I'd love everybody to come up here and I'll snag a photo.